dream UX job is still a job, right? And then I was like,
everyone's judging me, and then I would also judge myself ki मैं कौन होती हूँ? Who am I to give some people some gyan? Like I would always feel that
you have to, dig in Medium to find good articles.
Yeah.
You have to wait till 3 a.m. at night when Chris will do his live streaming of typography course, because once his live stream ends, he will, monetize it. I don't know even if the people who were teaching design also were fully aware of what design actually was and how it is supposed to be taught.
Welcome to Creative Climb, a series that's all about creative inspiration and career paths. We'll be chatting with some seriously talented individuals who have defied the odds and made it big in their fields. From food stylists to design enthusiasts, we'll get up close and hear all about how they got into their dream schools, built killer portfolios, and the wild, wacky things they did to prepare for their careers. So, hi, Bharat. I think where we can start is first by you introducing yourself on what you do. I will also set the context on what I want to talk about in this podcast, even though I know that we will digress and we'll do everything in between. I see that you're a product designer, a little bit about your journey as a product designer and how you got here, some challenges and stuff like that. Personal anecdotes are most welcome because people want to know the real stories. Secondly, your journey as a content creator, specifically in design, and being able to make a community in this space, right? And the third thing I want to talk about is like the issues that you think that you are able to solve as a designer for fellow other designers, like, or maybe the issues that people come to you for, all those issues, So these are the three things we will talk on the go. For everyone to know, I know we don't know each other personally. We just met. So I may be asking a lot of questions like about you and other things.
Yeah.
So you can do that as well. So it'll help everyone else. So yeah, let's begin. Start with,
Sure.
yeah.
Sure. All right. Like, first of all, thank you
So hi, Bharat. I think where we can start is first by
for having me on your podcast, Ritima. So yeah, and also good to see that another content creator in the same space. So yeah, kudos to you for starting and then also maintaining. I've heard I think 99% of people do not go beyond the third episode of their podcast. So good to see you have the consistency and you are among the top 1%, 3% of podcasters who are consistent. So kudos to you for that. About me, I think simply put, I draw rectangles and I judge people to make money. So that's what I do. But in more complex way, I'm a product designer who helps companies build digital products like apps and stuff.
Yeah.
Pretty much all of my experience has been building fintechs for Indian market, for European market, and for US market. Currently, I'm building again for European market. So my journey started back in 2012 when I joined NIT and I was doing a course called Industrial Design. That's where I came to know about design. But then the true exposure to design came in a few internship I did at a couple of IITs. So that's where I actually understood, okay, this is what design is and what I'm learning is not design. And that's where I was also curious about then how do I learn design? Like, where do I go to learn design? Because I was like super curious about design education in general. So that's where, after my engineering, I did 1 year of job at a company called Tally Solutions.
Okay.
I mainly went to that company because I was looking for a mentor and I found a mentor named Shama Russell. She had experience working at Nokia, working at Adobe, and she had like very rich experience.
Okay.
So that was my first job, and obviously everybody learns a lot in their first job, right? So because you were pretty much engineer and a fourth year student before that, and suddenly you see the disciplined life of corporate jobs, right? So you learn a lot. So that happened. Glad that happened, because after that 1 year of experience, when I did my master's, which was at NIT, and my subject was interaction design, that really helped me because I had a few of those corporate DNAs, those disciplines, those routines, and so on, right? So I could appreciate student life much better because of the corporate experience. NIT happened. After NIT, I joined Zeta again. Like at that time, it was pretty much the most well-known design led company for their design culture, right? So I'm very fortunate that I got to work with some of the people who were the founding members of those design culture that was built in the company. I worked there for almost about 4 years, and then I switched to a company called HDFC Securities. I think you work at one of the security company.
Yeah.
So I found it a little tough. I think the
Yeah.
derivatives, blah blah, I think those things were slightly tough for me. Also in general, also I found a bit of culture shock because I was coming from a different kind of a fintech experience, and HDFC Security had a different kind of way of building product, way of communication, way of working, and so on. So that's where I felt like it's like you have put a horse in water and you're expecting that horse to swim. So that didn't really work out, and that's where I felt like, okay, let's find something else. That's where I landed in a company called Tide.
Okay.
The website is tide.co. It's one of the pretty big fintechs for small businesses in UK. It's a UK-based company. It's again completely remote, so that gives me a bit of time to do content creation on the sites as well. So yeah, that's bit of long story about me. I would like to know about you as well. Like you said, we have met for the first time.
Yeah, sure. So before that, I want to also double click on that. That when you move from one place to a fintech securities or like that kind of a place, the domain is so different that even if you know your craft or even if you know the solutions, the domain knowledge in financial markets and all the products that come with the financial markets is a very big challenge. That doesn't mean that people should switch from the same domain. People who are coming from different domains obviously always bring different viewpoint. But then it was the same story for me when I joined Upstocks also. I came from e-commerce. I came from Amazon, and e-commerce is something that everyone does on everyday basis. So, like people are buying stuff on e-commerce in one way or the other. So that was okay. But buying stocks or like mutual funds or other asset classes was not something that everyone does all the time, right? So I also found myself in an awkward position where I was like, okay, I will just leave. But I want to give full credit to our VP that time. His name is Divya. He's moved to Atlassian now, but I want to give him full credit. I talked to him and I told him, I'm feeling very uncomfortable. I'm feeling like I'm not able to perform, right? I'm not understanding anything. And even though I used to use Figma, but in Amazon that time we used to use Sketch. So moving from Figma to Sketch to Figma, and that time, how do I say? It wasn't still Figma was also coming up with newer things, right?
When
So
you're saying that time, what year was it?
I think this is 2021, 2020, 21, right? So what I'm trying to say is I also felt in a awkward position in different places. But the idea is to go on, figure it out, and then you kind of learn on the go. I think that's what happens. Yeah.
100%. Yeah. Totally
And
agree.
I'm just looking at your LinkedIn. Your LinkedIn doesn't have the tide update, by the way.
Yeah, that was very intentional. I'm not using LinkedIn like how I use it for, what do you call it? A regular career update like a resume, right? So right now it's completely optimized for converting people to my community.
Okay.
I'm just using it for promotion. Like at night 10 p.m. you will see me posting. I'm going live right now. I'm just playing around with LinkedIn right now. I'm not really focused on maintaining the LinkedIn how usually it is maintained, right? I think if ever I will switch jobs again, then I'll again come back to that. Like how we do with portfolios, right? How we do with resumes. We never work on it all the time. So that's how
That's completely fine. That's obviously well
Yeah.
thought of. So no, you know what? I'm not calling you out. I'm just saying
Yeah.
I was quite okay, cool. So let's first start on your product design journey. So you said that you went to NIT, which means you were doing industrial design, industrial engineering. Did you say? Sorry,
Industrial design. It was BTech in industrial design.
BTech in industrial design. But how did your parents react when you said you want to move to like this kind of design? Do they understand design now?
So back then it was more like, so see what their vantage point was ki, what are the different options that you have, right? So you can go for CSE in not in NIT but non-NIT, good reputed college, but CSE in non-NIT colleges, or you can go for NIT and whatever you're getting from your rank, right? And civil engineering was also one of the thing. And then there was biomedical, biotech, and mining, and some subjects like that. So my parents were like, do civil engineering because maybe your salary would be less, but then your salary is not the only earnings that you'll get in civil engineering. If you so that's how they were working, because that was their vantage point. They have seen how people earn money, so they were like, in 10 years you'll retire if you do civil engineering. I was like, chill, let's see what else can we do. But again, industrial design was also a new subject at NIT, which is why the cutoff mark was also low, and that's why I got industrial design. I mean, it's almost like there was not much convincing required, because the brand that was coming was NIT Rourkela. So I think that's where they were like, okay, if you get into the college, you will figure out what to do with it, right? So they didn't fully understand. Even I didn't understand what design was or what they are going to teach. I don't know even if the people who were teaching design also were fully aware of what design actually was and how it is supposed to be taught, right? So I mean, nobody in that entire ecosystem was aware of what design was. So yeah, it was just the brand of NIT, which is why everybody was connected there. So yeah, I mean, that happened. Right now, I think my parents understand what design is. Not like in full technical details, but they understand that, okay, I make products, digital products, in such a way that they don't have to use a user manual to understand how things work, right? So
Interesting.
yeah,
That's quite interesting. Oh, user manual and like angle is something else. Yeah.
yeah.
So do you think, I always ask this to my peers at work also, that do you think NIT, matlab, you know how when you're in 11th, 12th, it's like ki mains ki prep kar lo, IIT lena hai, ye wo. I know that uske baad everyone's gone to, very controversial, but eventually we are all in the same place doing the same kind of work. Do you think it was worth it? Matlab, kya thoughts hai? Matlab, jo bhi mila NIT se.
Yeah, totally worth it. I think I enjoyed every day at NIT, mainly because I was into multiple different things, right? I was spending a lot of time in my dance club. I was like full on into dance, choreography, and things like that. Then from second, third year onwards, I was also getting into movie making, filmmaking, and things like that. I was into graphic design, making posters for different clubs and stuff. And then bunch of things were happening. It was like academia was very small part of my life. When I was decent with academia, I think I was more of a serious student when it came to being a student. But in general, also I had like so much of extracurricular stuff that was going on in my life. So like life would start at 6 a.m. It will, I'll pause at probably 12:31, and all of it is like kind of worth it in a way. I mean, certain, if you talk about only the curriculum, then yeah, definitely things could have been better. But then like that's also life, I guess. Like everything can be better, right?
Mm.
So little bit of regret is that, yeah, I think if people would have understood design better there and would have taught us design, then I would have not done my masters. I would have been very satisfied with the education. But because I was not very satisfied with the education that was provided only regarding design,
Mm.
that's where I felt no. I mean, I need to do something. But then that you can't really take a piece of the puzzle out, right?
Yeah.
I mean, so it probably built in this character who can basically learn design on their own, right? Because I was super curious and then I wanted to learn design, but then there was, I mean, it was not readily available back in 2012 to 2016. It was not readily available. You have to, dig in Medium to find good articles.
Yeah.
You have to wait till 3 a.m. at night when Chris will do his live streaming of typography course, because once his live stream ends, he will, monetize it. He will just put it into a course and then he would sell it. And as a student, you cannot afford it. So, I mean, those resilient muscles were getting built at that time, which is you sleep, sleep at 12, you put an alarm at 3 because Chris will be live, right? So those kind of things were happening at that time. So can't really say that, not being provided with good education was a problem, because that built also another muscle
Yeah.
in the hindsight.
Yeah. No, everyone says that they feel like they've become a different person and the person that they are, and like that only the zeal and the thing to strive hard and work hard sometimes to get ahead, or probably like to do better than what they could have done, they have done, is something that they learned while they were at
Yeah.
that competitiveness comes and that learning comes in a positive sense. This is what they always say mostly.
Yep. Yeah.
Cool. So then you went for your masters, and what do you have to say about your masters then?
There also, I think first 6 months I didn't really like it, but I can totally understand why the course is structured in that way.
Okay.
So first 6 months at NID, it's all about doing a lot of basic stuff, right? It's like the course is very common to everybody. Like I was enrolled in interaction design, but then everybody, irrespective of what the domain they were in, interaction design, information design, universal design, everybody was doing the basics first, and the basics included sketching, drawing straight lines, drawing geometry, and stuff like that, right? So, and I was thinking that, dude, I just have like 2.5 years, right? I don't want to, I mean, I'm very clear about what I want in my life. I understand some people may not understand what they want in their life, and then they need to be like, everybody needs to be first taken to a certain pedestal where everybody is at the same level, and then you provide them with, what is specialized knowledge. I understand why the course is designed in that way, but for me, I felt like, okay, I mean, if I know that I want to get into, interaction design, then why am I taking a thermocol and making it smooth, right? So why am I doing pottery? Why am I, doing the same thing that I had done in engineering college by,
Which NIT campus was this?
this was NIT Bangalore.
Bangalore. Okay.
So yeah. So those kind of questions were in my mind initially, but then like once the second semester started, third semester started, I started enjoying it, because then the core design, the core interaction design part came, right? So that's where I was like, okay, now this is like super worth it what I'm doing right now. Again, the peers are like, everybody is a genius in a own way, right? So everybody, also I think the way they select is everybody is very diverse in their way. Like somebody would be very technical, somebody would be very artsy, somebody would be very humble, somebody would be having a certain sense of humor, or just the way they present, right? So like there is always something to absorb just from the people who are surrounding you, those 14 people who are surrounding you. And then obviously there are lecturers, there are your permanent lecturers who are in college, and then people who come from outside. So I think, yeah.
How big was your batch, you said?
It was 15.
15 people. And which year was this?
This was 2017 to 2020.
20. Cool. And would you recommend people right now who are in two minds about ki kare, nahi kare, apply kare, what should I do? Should I just do a crash course?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's more like how are you looking at your career? I think crash course, if you are at zero, you want to become a designer, crash course could help. But how I see MDes, how it works is, it gives you skills or education for pretty much your entire career. Like there, I have acquired certain skills that I have not used so far, that I can see that, okay, I understood about systems thinking, but I've not used it in my career so far. Probably when I get into the levels, say head of design, director of design, and so on, that's where those skills are going to play in, right? So I feel, yeah, I mean, it's almost like it gives you a lot of skills for your career, which is why, sometimes you would feel that, okay, 0 to 1 education was not given, that much importance. Like the last 6 months was all about systems thinking, but that systems thinking is not exactly used in your 0 to 1 kind of growth as a designer, right? So it is a lot about what do you want out of your education, right? Design education. If it is that you want to get into design as quick as possible, your crash course, cohorts, self-learning, and all of that is good. But if you're thinking to, you know, have slightly solid foundation which can be used throughout your career, then MDes can be a good option.
Yeah.
Also, people without MDes are also doing pretty good. So it's not
Yeah.
like it's a must have. It's almost like, if it's more like a very personal choice, right? If you really want to do MDes, then yeah, why not? There
Yeah.
are so many that we do. Like, people are going for a Coldplay concert paying what 1 lakh rupees per ticket, right? So if people can spend there, then there is nothing wrong with you spending on your education.
Yeah, for sure. I think I would again double click on that because I went for my master's abroad. That meant a lot of money. Forget about private college in India, but it was an international college and I had to pay for it. So everyone asks, was it worth it? So I say, forget about what I learned. One of the biggest things for me was very little people know about my college in India. Even though there, the name is so. The name actually got me many interviews and many like a foot in the door in many big companies because for design roles because I was from that college. Having said that, when I came back to India and I was looking for jobs, no one cared about my masters. They only cared about my bachelor's. I did my bachelor's from Shrishti, and Shrishti is a renowned design school in India. So people are like, oh, you're from Shrishti, okay, fine. Masters ignore hi kar diya sabne. Like no one cared about masters. Ki have come and so what I'm saying is, ye hua hai mere saath. So फिर people are like, was it worth it? But I would say, forget about that. The experiences that I got and the person that I'm right now, and the things that I think about and things that I strived for that time, right? Surrounded by different kinds of people, and like you said, people are from different backgrounds and different domains. Like they are going to probably, like my classmates are art directors, some of them are photographers, some of them are landscape artists now after doing MA in art direction. So basically, where you apply your creativity, where you apply yourself is always different. But what it makes you is something else. So if someone comes and asks me also that I am thinking for my masters, I say that if you can, this you will not repent one money spent on this in your entire life. Like you will think about it all your life.
Yeah.
All your life. It's that money is for all your life, you know?
Exactly. Yeah. It's a very long-term investment.
Yeah.
For
It
sure.
makes you it makes you something else and someone else,
Yeah.
basically.
But there is one other thing that I wanted to talk about, which is, like, you will never know was it worth it or not.
Yeah.
Right? Like, because you can't live two lives parallelly and do a A/B testing of your life. Okay, life with masters, without masters, because you can't really do that, right? I know people who have like almost similar skill set, similar confidence level, similar way of talking, and all of that without masters as well. Like people have like gathered it from their experience in working with different companies, right? So that can also happen. It's not like it cannot happen, but then we can't really do the A/B testing in life. So if you are interested, you do that, and then you just write your own what do you call it, biography, right? So it's almost like you are the main character of your story. Now you are just deciding, okay, in this chapter what will happen? Will I join a company or will I actually do a master's?
Yeah.
Right? So
Or start something of my own, or would I
or start
freelance?
something of my own. Yeah.
That's one thing all designers like, freelance kar lu, job le lu, studio join kar lu, you know,
Yeah.
teach kar lu. So I think luckily we have options. So cool. I think now is a good time to move to your community. When I started my journey, I will be honest, I did not do my research on ki kaun kya kar raha hai. I was like, meko jo karne mein karungi. In my own way. I'll be like, dekh lenge. Like you said, you know what you want to achieve. I don't. I'm like, okay, I will do what I want to do when I'm feeling like it in a comfortable space. Because for now, this is not paying my bills. This is something I'm doing out of passion. And it shows. Like now we are meeting at 9 p.m. after work on a weekday in the middle of the week. So it's because we are passionate about this. So that is clear. And you have a community, and then I discovered you a couple of months back. You have a WhatsApp community, you have LinkedIn community, you have a YouTube community specifically for designers. First, I want to understand from you what made you do it.
Right. I don't know. I mean, I think I've always been trying to build communities, or I've been part of certain communities all my life. Like, for example, when I was into dance, we were a huge ass group of dancers. Like there were 80 dancers in our club, and being around with like-minded creative people really helps, because not everybody is going to understand your language of creativity, right? For example, if a certain song is playing and I say somebody that, okay, you can do this hit there, that lyrical there, and you can hold the bass line here and blah blah, right? People who are not into dance will not get it, but you also want to express it, right? So you want to be connected with like-minded people. It's this saying that your vibe attracts your tribe, right? So it was almost like that, wherein I always looked for people whom I could vibe with.
So your vibe has attracted your tribe, which is me, who's got you on this one.
Yeah, definitely. So that's what I wanted to, in general, create a place where creative people would come and share their creativity, and other people can understand, okay, this is what they are creating, right? And we can also relate to them. If they are like, if we are slightly senior, they are slightly junior, we can tell them that, okay, this is where you can get ahead, right? So my idea was that I wanted like pretty much all of my idea are self-centered. Okay, I'm a very selfish person. So my idea was I want to connect with a lot of designers, right? That's where the idea was. I've tried to build communities multiple times on different platforms. Started with Discord, then Telegram, a little bit on Instagram also tried, but it didn't really stick. but I learned from it. Then this happened. WhatsApp I started, and it organically has grown from zero till I think now 5,667 designers right now.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So it has organically grown. There are three communities
Mm.
right now, and we are so in WhatsApp you have a limit of 2,000 members per community. So probably by the end of this year we'll max out the third community and we'll hit 6,000 by that time. But yeah, so as people came together, that's where I also started thinking of, okay, how can I serve them better, right? Initially I thought, okay, let's bring in design recruiters and ask them to post their jobs here, because in a lot of smaller companies they have to pay a lot to get that kind of visibility in LinkedIn, right? Otherwise in LinkedIn, if you go and look for jobs, you'll just find 10 Google jobs, 5 Microsoft jobs, 7 JP Morgan jobs, and the list goes on, right? Until you really apply those filter of company sizes, location, blah blah blah, a lot of the smaller companies jobs you'll not find, because they will not surface up, because they're not paying that much, their company page is not paying that much. So which is why I thought, okay, there is this good chance of bringing in recruiters, they will post jobs, this will help both the parties, right? I'm not taking money from anybody, which is fine, but at least kisi ka to bhala ho jayega, right? That's how the idea was. I was also bringing a lot of people in because I was launching my course, which was about portfolio, right? So how do you design a portfolio? Majorly it's principles, and not very hand holding basis. It's more like the principles that you should be following. So I mean, those two things basically got me the first 2,000 members, and from there on we have been like, I've been taking feedback from people, understanding where they're they need a bit of help. For example, mentorship. Then we thought, okay, let's do live sessions. Not exactly the live sessions that I have been doing since 1 week, but it was more like we would bring in people from industry and ask them to give a webinar, which on any other day in Bangalore on Saturday would cost you 499 rupees to get into
Yeah.
the right MG road mein kahin pe wo hota hoga, and then you would have to pay a bit of money to go there and attend. So like, okay, let's try to do this online. And yeah, I mean, we are still figuring out. I know we have grown a bit in size, but we are still figuring out what else can we do, how else can we help our community members. Yeah.
I want to go back and ask about your course. How did your course go, and what do you think about it now? What could have gone better, or you could have done better?
So I actually have no reference point to whether my course performed as much as I wanted or not, because I had no expectation ki this is the number that I'll be hitting, right? So, but then there were people who were from Graphy. So I had hosted my course on Graphy. Graphy is a platform by Unacademy.
Yeah.
So when my course got launched and people bought the course in the first 24, 48 hours, Graphy people said that this course has done very well. Like, it's among the top 5% course, the way it performed with the kind of audience you had, right? So that's where I felt like, okay, cool. That means there is some form of validation, not of this course, but of the work that I've done before that, right? Which build that trust for people to buy my course. So that happened. And yeah, I mean, every month it is working. And again, I'm not a digital marketing expert, so I don't know how to market my course. So here and there, I put some offers here and there, and sometimes I get a spike in sales and all. But overall, the response to the course has been very good. I think it's a 4.8 star, and then all the comments have been very positive with few minor feedbacks and so on. Also, one thing that I'm trying to do with this course is make this course a living course, which is, as I create content on portfolio, as I learn more things, I'll keep adding it to the course. So whoever has bought it at 499 1 year back is now going to get. So back then they got 1 hour of course, but over time I have at least 6 hours of more content added to it, right? So, or planning to add to it. So yeah, I mean, I'm also experimenting. This is the first course that has gone out. There is a lot to learn. Me as a creatorpreneur, which is a new word these days. So yeah.
So, did you launch a course before, or did you launch a YouTube channel before?
YouTube channel was there since 2012 or something. Like, I used to put my dance videos, some of these, right? So that was there. But I have also put design content recently, right? So first course was launched. Course was launched on the basis of traction I had on Instagram. And in Instagram, I was doing carousel posts, 2019 to 2021, 22. So those 10 slider carousel posts I was doing. Then I did a bit of reel, got a bit of traction from both carousel and reel. And then I thought, okay, let's launch a course and see what happens, right? It's like, it was still an experiment, because I actually created the course in 1 week, launched it the same week, and I mean, everything was tested in just 1 week period. So yeah, it was more from experimental point of view rather than like making money and being a businessman and so on.
So, this podcast I generally call like creative people, right? So, okay, what have their creative journeys been? Okay, we talked about, since you're a product designer, we covered that part, and you are a creator. That is another thing. So, as a creator, matlab moving from this to creator, you're learning every day. Uske kya learnings hai? What is your everyday struggle on this? Kya socha? Kya plan kiya? I will give you some context. You appreciated me ki acha, good that you're having a podcast, and I must tell you, I started last year and then I did nothing for a year. I did four podcasts, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then I did nothing for the entire year. I got very good traction on the first 4 episodes, mostly from friends and family. I have been very shy to tell people ki follow karo ya dekho, but jo ho raha hai, and I'm not even looking at numbers. I have a very small following anyway. But in between, one or two will like 1,000 views ho rahe. So you feeling ki acha isme kuch to dekh rahe hain log, you know, like, and I also don't know what I want to do. Do I want to do product? Do I want to do graphic? What am I doing? So what I'm trying to get at is that it took me really, I really had to make up my mind ki okay, I'm going to do podcast again. I recently started to do Instagram reels, and add those reels to my YouTube channel as well, and go about it, right? So then I have my learnings ki, acha, people are liking this kind of content. Do I want to move? I'm a product designer, but I've been a graphic designer. I'm mostly posting about graphic and branding. Do I want to move from graphic and branding to this product karu ya nahi karu? So these are the things, dilemmas as a creator or as a anyone, like I am just thinking about what are those your issues that you faced, or something that has really helped you, or something that you think कि मुझे ये करके इतना मजा आ रहा है because this really adds value to people who are watching. So couple of times I have received LinkedIn messages from random people saying, hi Kritima, I saw one of your videos just now you were talking about this, thank you so much, I really wanted to, like, you just casually asked this person this and it was so helpful. Someone will send a message on Instagram saying that, hi, because they are shy to ask on comments, right? Hi, you said this, can you help me with creating a draft for my freelance project, right? तो जब मुझे महीने में एक मैसेज भी आ जाता है, इट इज आई एम लाइक, अच्छा, मतलब मैं हवा में नहीं फेंक रही हूँ कुछ, कोई तो देख रहा है, या फिर कहीं से तो कुछ आ रहा है. टोटली यूजलेस ईव टीजिंग वाले मैसेजेस को मैं इग्नोर कर देती हूँ. आई मस्ट टेल यू, वो भी होता है. डिलीट करती हूँ, ब्लॉक करती हूँ, और वो भी करती हूँ. तो बट आई वांट टू अंडरस्टैंड कि ये जैसे मेरे साथ ये अभी हो रहा है. व्हाट अबाउट यू? कैसा रहा ये जर्नी, ये यूट्यूब वाली?
Yeah, I think YouTube, I didn't start with YouTube. I started with Instagram, right? Back when I was in NID, which was in 2019. And my idea was I wanted to practice graphic design. Mainly because I was doing graphic design, but since I got into NID, I was doing more conceptual thinking and interaction design and pure interaction design stuff, right? Somewhere I felt I should keep practicing that craft of graphic design. And that's where I thought, okay, I'm reading a bunch of stuff. I'm taking a lot of notes. So how about I create graphic notes, right? So that's where I thought, okay, let me start with that. So that thing started. And I'm again very thankful to people who at that time followed me, because like it's very tough to really follow somebody who just has very less following, right? So you, like, I didn't had the social validation at that time for anybody to really, you know, give a damn about what I'm saying and what I'm writing and how I'm compiling them, right? So very grateful to people at that time. One thing also happened, Abish Matthew shared one of my content, right?
Oh, okay.
And that gave me like crazy confidence. I was like, I just came from watching Son of Abish, and then I'm seeing Abish Matthew sharing this and saying this is hilarious, right? So that's where the journey began. Like somebody took a bet on me. I mean, he probably didn't have to do that, right? Like he's Abish Matthew. Like I'm nobody with 500 followers, right? He still took a bet and he shared that post, and then that gave me the confidence to keep posting, right? And that's where I kept posting, and I got some traction. But one thing I was always, you know, struggling. You asked about struggling. When I was doing carousel, I was not doing design carousels, right? So I didn't have a niche. Usually, what is considered a good strategy is you start with a niche, because you are not a personal brand. You are not Tanmay Bhatt. So whatever you say doesn't mean that people will be there to consume you. People will be consuming a subject. So you have to keep your subject narrow for the few people who are interested in them to follow you. But I was not a niche creator at that time. I was creating carousels. My way of presenting was slightly niche, but then again, 2019 November happened and everybody started doing design carousels, right? I was posting from March of 2019. So then that niche also got disrupted a bit, which is where I felt, you know, I was just thinking, what kind of content creator am I? Like I asked people, okay, you follow me. What do you think? Like, how would you define my content? And they would say relatable content. I was like, what the fuck is relatable content, right? So finding niche or niching down was actually tough for me, because I had so many things to talk about, right? Something happened, social commentary, right, will be there. Some new thing I learned, technical, that would be there. Whatever used to come to my mind, I used to just create carousels, post out of it, and you know, just post it. So initially it was tough to grow when I was doing like 100 different things together. But then I learned the game, which is, okay, you niche down to one thing and then you post about it, and then a community would be built around that kind of content. So that happened. What else? Then reel started coming in, right? Reels me also had to figure out how to do reels, because so far I was not showing my face, right? Again, shy person, again, not good at talking to camera, not good at talking in general also. So how do you then deal with reels, right? And you also don't have so much patience to do very good editing and so on.
Yeah.
Right? So that's where, you know, I was like, okay, let's just concentrate on developing myself rather than, you know, thinking about following. Which is, I said, okay, let's keep on, you know, talking to the camera, and it will eventually get better, right? Or I'll find some ways to talk better on camera, right? I'll probably find ways to edit it better, or I'll use a transcript and I'll read from it and whatnot, right? So as I started talking to camera, I realized, okay, this is doable. Like I could see my growth. It's almost like going to gym. It was tough for the first 3 months, but then slowly you get used to the pain of or excitement of or adventure of talking to the camera.
Yeah.
So that happened. Talking to the camera was also a struggle. What else?
What
But
about
yeah, I
your
mean,
audience? How did you मतलब कैसा फील हुआ जब ऑडियंस कैसे आई ऑडियंस और कैसा फील हुआ जब ऑडियंस आ रही थी एंड डिड
yeah,
यू
I think
फाइंड
in content creation, one thing I have seen that usually growth happens because of your 1 or 2 or 3 videos, right? So I was at 500, Abish Matthew shared, I got to 900, 1000. Then very slowly I crawled till 1200, 1500. Then one carousel, blew up, got to 5000, right? 5000 se I was crawling till 6000 for a very long time, like maybe 1.5 years I was just at that place. Then one reel blew up. I think I went to 22,000 from that 5,000, 6,000 ish to 22,000. And then again stayed there for a very long time. One reel blew up 37,000, right? So that's how it has happened. But you cannot really produce those viral videos one after another, right? You have to keep producing and
कुछ
praying, and one day it will happen. And you have to keep learning as well. I think the general, my general principle is I'll try to do something better in the next batch,
हाँ
right? I'll keep on doing something, low effort, high ROI over time. So right now on YouTube also, I'm creating those systems, right? Which is I am having the setup here. Okay, the friction to start a YouTube video is very easy for me right now, right? Which is I have 3 lights, 1, 2, 3 switch, done. Sit here, get your mic connected, and then you start talking, right? So, or you have your script in front of you, you have your uh, presentation built. Again, presentation is also templatized. There are few templates. You need images. There are 4 sources, AI sources, and then there are 4 AI prompts that are there. I just need to change. Okay, man wearing blah blah blah, holding blah blah blah, expression blah blah blah, and there is that everything is now falling into place slowly, right? And then as you grow as a creator, you also try to break those templates and see what else can you do with the same effort, right? So for example, I'm doing live now just because I want to see, okay, live does not need editing, right? That 6 hours of editing that I do is now not required. So I'm trying to find different things to do as a creator. So I started from carousel, and over time I'm just trying to challenge myself in a way, because if you would have asked 2019 Bharat to do a live, he would have never been able to do it. Like, who can hold attention of people for 2 hours, right?
Yeah.
It's just not possible. That Bharat would have never been able to do it. But
Have you done?
it,
Sorry, I'm cutting you short. Have you done any courses with any of these education companies, edtech
no,
companies? No.
I've never done that. Yeah.
Okay. And what about your like ऐसा नहीं, but like have you, like, since you got this traction at lifestyle fashion में तो you get a lot of like deals and stuff. Did you find anything happening in that space for you?
Yeah. So there have been brands who have approached for collaboration, and I've done also with few. One was an apparel. I think 2 apparel companies have done. One more we are going to do with a usability testing, like core UX research company. Also, we are going to do very soon. So yeah, I mean, once you hit a certain scale, they would come. But then I think I've not hit a scale where it is going to come very regularly, right? So I'll have to find out. I've not yet thought about how can I monetize all the effort that I'm putting into content creation. Right now, it's all about 2 things. One is growing the WhatsApp community, and me being comfortable doing lives, right?
Yeah.
I want to be able to hit that point where, like Chris too was an introvert, but then at this point he can just talk for 6 hours and he would not blink, right? So I want to be, at least if not 6 hours, I want to be at least able to talk freely for 2 hours, 2.5 hours, and hold people's attention with that.
No, believe me, you're doing good. Your ideas and like you're able to articulate also very well. I think that's not.
Yeah,
I'm
thanks.
patiently listening to whatever you're saying. Generally, I'm a very impatient person, and you just saw an example before this. So yeah, that is there. Cool. I think this was very helpful. The thing is that I want to appreciate you on the fact that, again, that you've gone ahead and done this step by step, step by step, step by step. Chal rahe ho, like you've gone ahead. Like I said, I started. I'm like, okay, for me, like you were asking about me, for me, what happened is that why I asked you that question was I did some courses with some of the edtech companies. They came to me because, again, I had some friends who thought I could be, I'm a very chatty person, I'm quite explanatory. So it will be good for me to talk to students or like talk to people and explain some stuff to them. And I did those things. Again, I was also very awkward. Eventually, I was like, Acha, everyone's judging me. And then I would also judge myself, ki, main kaun hoti hu? Who am I to give some people some gyan? Like, like, I would always feel that consistently.
Imposter syndrome. It's like common cold for designers.
Yeah, I feel that every day, like some days I'll wake up, I'll be like, today I'll make a video on this. And then I'll be like, no one wants to see this video. Shut up and work. Like I will think, okay, I will make a video. Let me just go open my hair and like just make this video of me doing this. Then I'll be like, no one wants to see this video. Shut up and finish your work. I have those days also, mostly. But how you've gone ahead from carousels to this, and you said 1.5 years of this. I'm like still struggling with 3 months of creating content. 3 months ho gaya, to 4th month mein decide karungi ki karna hai ki nahi karna. So I think a lot of us are in that dilemma of करना चाहिए कि नहीं करना चाहिए. And my learning till now for me is कि करो अगर मजा आ रहा है, क्योंकि अगर मजा नहीं आ रहा है and then you're waiting कि कुछ monetary होगा, तो वो तो भाई बहुत ही दूर है, वो नहीं करोगे तुम, like.
Yeah.
What is your thought on that? मतलब अगर अब किसी को, if I have to ask you, imagine it's just me. and I had to see this video from somewhere else, what would your advice be to me in my journey
Yeah.
right now?
By the way, I mean, I would like to understand, have you been on stage and have you performed on stage in before in any capacity?
In school, yes, in one act plays.
Okay.
Uh, that's it, I think. Yeah.
Okay, got it. So I'll give you this answer from a dancer's point of view, right? So not a lot of people in my college were going onto the stage as solo dancers, right? But then I would have probably done 50 odd solos in my first year of college itself. Is like it's actually uncomfortable to go onto the stage and perform, right? But then it's that thrill, right? Okay, what will happen? And for me, my acts were half choreographed, and half of it will come because of the practice, right? Which is okay, I'll do something. I don't know what I'll do, but something will come up in front of stage. So that's the magic of performing what we call as freestyle dance, right? Which is you also don't know how you're going to perform. You're going to rely on your practice, and then something interesting will come up. And even I used to get surprised, ki, "Acha, aisa, arey, kya baat hai?" Right? So the idea of getting the thrill of the stage is something that I have always noticed in me, which is कि एक तो social validation है, people will clap, social validation, dopamine, neuroscience done, one part done. The other part is that I myself get surprised by what I do on a live stage, live mic, and so on. Right. So that is something that I always look back because I call it stage ka nasha, which is once you're on the stage, you get the clap. You if you also come out of the stage for 2 hours, you'll be getting that high. Like it is very different from any sukha nasha or gila nasha. Right. It's a very different high that you get. The same high I feel in content creation as well because this is something that I'm not comfortable in. But then I'm pushing the boundary when I'm actually recording, when I'm actually writing the script, and then I'm getting those eureka moments that, oh damn, I've just simplified this, or I've just written this one liner. I'm like, arey bhai, like like one of this line I'd written in one of my content, which was your dream UX job is still a job, right? And then I was like, arey,
Yeah.
let's expand on that idea, right? So I find it very entertaining for myself. Like I don't care how many people are reading it, will they like it or not like it, whatever, right? I know that in that process somewhere I'm able to articulate my thought. I'm able to, entertain myself with it. So that is there. With the lives, I can totally feel the same vibe with stage, right? Which is I get this high. Like usually I'm the kind of person who would sleep at 11 p.m. But now I'm starting my lives at 10. It is ending at 12. And till 3 a.m. I'm just like, oh, what a high it is, right? Like I talked about that question that could have been better and all of that, right? So it's that stage high. There is a proper turn to it, which you get. I think uh, there is there is something like I forgot it, but once you go to the stage and perform, it's the same high that you get out of content creation as well. And it is actually addictive. If you are actually able to notice it, and if content creation is difficult for you, then there is a more chance that you would understand that okay, after completing this, I'm getting a high. It's the same high you also get out of gymming, right? Because lifting that weight is tough, but then once you do it, you get that hit. So I think everybody should try something difficult, whatever it is. Like be it for me, it was talking on camera, right? The moment I like give a good take, I'm like, "Arey, I have I've grown." Right. So that's where I feel everyone should try that. Be it content creation, go onto the stage, do your open mics. You want to be a comic, go onto open mic. You want to do poetry, go onto open mic. You want to do content creation, flip the camera, start talking. I think you would feel that high once you do something nice.
Yeah, I think this is the talk I needed to like go on because this happens now once you're like very excited, you're churning videos, you're like, "Acha, ye banauंगी." It comes to you naturally also that time, and then in between you're like, "मजा नहीं आ रहा, बहुत ही sad चल रहा है, छोड़ो."
Yeah.
I will think, and then I'm like, "अच्छा, I will think about the content one day. I will make a strategy, then I will do it." But that is where you are lost. मतलब उसके बाद that step is the most difficult part. And for me, I think this call with you is in many ways very, very helpful. It is this, see, I'm trying to always record with people that I want to talk to and like I want to know from them. अभी मेरे को नहीं पता है कि audience कौन है और who wants to listen to this.
Yeah.
But I'm sure जिसको सुनना है उसको मिल जाए बस मैं
So the advantage of being a small creator, right? You like I have also seen that when I was a very small creator, I was doing all the general social commentary, and I used to do political stuff as well. Like I didn't know those are political or I'll get bashing and whatnot, right? And once I got blown to 5,000 to 12,000, that's where people started saying that no, we disagree with you. So far, when I was small creator, nobody was giving a damn. I was just doing my own art and I was happy. And suddenly that responsibility comes in once you have a loudspeaker in your hand, right? So you can't really talk about anything the way you want. You have to be politically correct, otherwise cancel culture is there for you, right? So I feel this is a great time to actually explore all the different ideas. I feel I'm still a very small creator. That's why I'm able to do all these experiments, right? One day randomly I just went live. Imagine Tanmay Bhatt or Samay Rena or those kind of people randomly going live and testing their live feature. Okay, my mic is working or not, this is happening or not, and things like that. So they can't do that because they are at a certain level and they can't talk about everything and anything. So I feel being a small creator gives you that advantage that you can have your creative expression mainly because nobody is watching, and nobody's watching is actually an advantage and not a disadvantage in that way.
Yeah, I agree. And then you can just be like, if it went well, you're like, yeah, I know this went well. If it did not, you're like, no one's watching, who cares,
Yeah.
So, yeah. I think that was cool. I think this was really fun, Bharat. At least, like, I really enjoyed it. And I would love to join your live. I was thinking I would join your live yesterday, but I got busy with the house stuff. And one thing I must tell you, this stuff you can do when you have time. Once you have a family or you have other responsibilities, it becomes very difficult to take out time to do all these things. Today I was able to do this. My husband is not at home and I'm taking care of my dog, but I was like, okay, I can take out time. But good for you. I mean, like, you have that kind of time and you're able to.
Yeah, 100%. This is also something that I'm trying to consciously do, which is try to lower my effort, how much I'm putting into content. So everything, I'm just working on temptation and building systems. That's why. That, okay, how can I right now I can create reels in 20 minutes as well, and these are like good quality reels. It's not like random stuff, which is something that has taken time for me to build those systems, those templates, Figma or the recording software or whatnot, right? I am able to do it in 20 minutes only because those systems are being built. So I feel that is very important if you are somebody who has a family and all, right? So you have to constantly find ways to do low effort work. I think the way you are recording on Zoom, on Google Meet, is one of that example. Had you been like, okay, I'll create a stream deck and then put 2 people and then record and then edit and all of that, that would have been super difficult.
Even I do like very low effort recording. I let this thing entirely be what Google Meet records. Just cut out some extra stuff in case we take a break, or like just some extra stuff I try to cut out. But generally I just let, I'm sure if you find time sometime to view one of my videos, you will see it's generally very like simple, exactly how we would have recorded it. Mostly this is how it is.
Yeah.
Cool. So we will meet again, maybe in one of your lives. I'm on that group with you. And thank you, Bharat.
Thank you. All right. Chalo.
Okay, bye. Good night.